Hello and welcome to Green Angle, where we examine environmental issues and proffer sustainable solutions. I am Esther Mokwariola. On this week's edition of the show, less noise, more sense. In a busy city like Lagos, this task might seem insurmountable, but one agency is trying to brave the odds to set a standard for a noiseless megacity. How sustainable? And a rare sighting of a long-snouted seahorse was captured on the ocean floor in the UK, the first ever seahorse seen in the wild. Lagos, with a population of more than 20 million, is exposed to one environmental hazard, noise pollution. Health experts have warned that this environmental hazard not only leads to deafness, but can cause high blood pressure. Hopefully, the agency saddled with the responsibility of policing the environment in the state says a noiseless Lagos is achievable, and it has mapped out strict measures to pursue this objective.
Lagos is an ever-growing commercial nerve center in Africa's most populous nation. Daily hustle and bustle in the city leaves residents exposed to one major environmental hazard, noise pollution. Motor parks, markets and even worship centers are risk factors identified as contributing to the challenge in this mega city. As part of its continued sensitization to the dangers of noise pollution in the environment, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency held an advocacy campaign at Ojota Motor Park with the mission to pursuing a reduction of noise decibels, which are harmful to human health.
A lot of ambient noise from environment. It comes from horns and public transport. Not only to make Lagos noiseless, we are preaching hear, care.
Before the damage is done, we have some sort of signals. The body begins to signal to us that something is happening, and that is, we begin to hear a sort of noise, whooshing noise, hissing noise, like cricket noise or what have you, some type of noise in the air. Sometimes it's intermittent. It comes and goes, you know. But it's telling us that the metabolic effect that is taking place in the auditory system is not good.
Kemi Remi Dairo shares her experience of being partially deaf and explains why it could be harmful to be exposed to loud noise for a long time.
Living with it has not been fun. I was able to get a substitute. But even living with the substitute is even not a very lovely journey like that. You know, like I'm using batteries. Once I run out of battery, I'm deaf. I have it directly to my brain. You are hearing through your ear. You can still filter what you want to hear. I can't filter any sharp sound. That's why I have headache most times.
In the meantime, the agency says policies and laws will be implemented to ensure a sustainable initiative for a noiseless Lagos.
We hope also after this exercise, we can put our no horn-free zones, signboards, in particular places. Near learning centers, primary schools, or near hospitals should be horn-free zones.
To take it as a reality that we should stop noising in the motor park and to stop horn everywhere. When it's not necessary, you should not horn.
Many don't really know how much our actions or inactions affect us and our environment. This, the General Manager of Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Dolapo Fashawe, tells me is one of the challenges affecting the agency's mission in promoting a sustainable environment.
Sustainability is everybody's responsibility. It is not just the government's own.
It is not just LASEPA zone. What we do is that we advocate, educate, and communicate with people on the concept of sustainability. And we not only do this, we show examples of how and what we mean by a sustainable environment. So it is high time we all joined hands together, government, public, private sector, and start to think, what do we mean by sustainability? And it is simply to ensure that we control climate change, global warming, and we start to pay more attention, be more deliberate in how we treat our environment. So there's this culture of convenience that a lot of people have. People are used to what they know. You know, in health promotion, for example, it is very difficult to change a mindset of a 40-year-old man. And then the culture of convenience is we throw things where we want, how we want. It's easier than thinking of recycling and sorting out waste. And so that's a major challenge we have faced as an agency. And how have we tackled it? We have gone out with a lot of teaching, education, advocacy, and we have gone as far as showing the law. There are laws against environmental degradation. In Lagos, since we started the Noiseless Lagos campaign, I am happy to tell you that at least 50% of entertainment homes, for example, in the metropolis are soundproofed. We also have religious houses now coming to understand what we mean by noise pollution. We realize that a lot of drivers haven't gone through driving schools, so they do not know when and how to use their horns. Thankfully, Lagos State being a forward-thinking state, we have a Drivers Institute now. Every single driver employed by the state has to go through the Drivers Institute. And very soon we will extend it to the private sector, where you will be taught appropriate use of alternative lanes, side lanes, and your horns. And I am also happy to say LASEPA has created horn-free zones in certain areas of Lagos. For example, in hospitals where we have neonatal care and ICU units, we have been able to make them horn-free zones, and we intend to extend this to the metropolis very soon after a lot of education and advocacy. So this current administration believes very much strongly in stakeholder engagement. We realize that the people that advertise music on the streets, especially at bus stops, were a major source of pollution. But nobody was aware that there was any law against it. Section 171 and 172 of LASEPA law says it is an offense to propagate your beliefs, advertise your goods, or even advertise your music in particular in a public space beyond a certain decibel, and it is punishable by a fine or 2 years term in jail. Now, without advocacy, how do you enforce the law? What we decided to do was to engage the body. And the body has about 15 branches across all local governments. They have started the sensitization on our behalf, and everybody who is accredited under them will not advertise beyond a certain decibel or at all using amplifiers. We have given them a 6-month moratorium period. After now, we would have no choice than to enforce the law. It's interesting that we've had over 100 cases of offenders taking us to court, claiming that they did not know that disturbing the neighbor is an offense. because normally we would serve a notice when your neighbor complains. Now, I want to say Lagos is big, and we don't have the human resource to go about looking for noise pollutants. We usually rely on people reporting disturbance from their neighbors, from the environment. For example, we've had entertainment homes in the middle of residential areas. So the residents will come together and say, this is causing noise pollution, we can sleep at night. An entertainment home takes us up that there's no law that says he cannot play music. Then we end up in court. And I realize that self-enforcement is what is helping us now in Lagos, because of the few cases we've had, which we have won, and people have had to relocate some of their religious homes or entertainment homes or soundproof. We are getting somewhere, and I believe it's sustainable. After all, at a time in Lagos or in Nigeria, we were not wearing seat belts, and someone came and said we all had to wear, and they started prosecuting. And today, it's almost impossible to start your car without doing that. So we're hopeful and we believe. The Federal Ministry of Environment has set up a committee to look into alternatives to plastic, with a plan to ban single-use plastics in Nigeria. Lagos State on its own is coming up with a plastic policy through the Ministry of Environment and all stakeholders, including manufacturers and users, recyclers, to work out a policy that is people-friendly, environment-friendly, and cost-efficient. Most of the people that manufacture pure water got loans from federal banks. How do you go and say, stop manufacturing because we're banning plastics? We would have to find alternatives that are economically viable and even subsidized before we go right out. Now, biodegradable plastics will reduce dramatically the effect of global warming. Because take our drains, for example, floods, backflow, primary drains, secondary drains, tertiary drains. Look around Lagos, it's always caused by plastic, because plastic is waterproof and non-biodegradable. It will stay there. We have seen nylon bags, supposed plastic bags, looking like plastic bags, but they are made of cassava husks, biodegradable, made in China. And I start to wonder, is cassava not exported from Africa? So yes, we have a good chance if all stakeholders come on board, and the citizenry, like I said, self-enforcement helps. We can't throw away plastics, but if we say reuse, reduce, recycle, for now, everyone can make a difference. E-waste contains electrical waste. Most of them contain carcinogenic substances, lead, mercury. We are accrediting e-waste recyclers in Lagos. As of now, we have over 12 accredited with LASEPA. And for industries that generate a lot of e-waste, like battery users, the telecommunication industries, telcos, and power industries, we ensure that an accredited recycler or disposer of e-waste works with you and ensures that this e-waste is managed in an environmentally friendly, sustainable, and appropriate manner. Well, I would want to plead with Lagosians that we treat the environment as our own personal property. because the environment is something we share in common, all of us. The air we breathe, oxygen is O2 all over the world. Let us be mindful of what we throw in our drainages, because a lot of people think, what's my business with global warming and climate change? I want to inform you that everything that comes from your sink or goes into your gutters is ending up in one large water body. So sort your waste from source. For the industries, separate fats and oil from water. For the manufacturers, proper effluent treatment. And for you and I at home, let us start to reuse, reduce, recycle, and use less of plastic, and even probably ban single-use plastics. You can take your bag to the supermarket every day and refuse to take their nylon bags. That's my message to Lagosians.
Green Angle returns after this break. Stay with us. The demand for air conditioners that provide thermal comfort and sustain health is steadily growing across the African continent as consumers seek to improve their quality of life in the face of urbanization and rising global temperature. As manufacturing and industrialized economies place increasingly stringent minimum energy performance standards and refrigerant global warming potential limits on room air conditioners sold domestically, important African countries risk becoming even greater dumping grounds for inefficient, environmentally harmful products using obsolete refrigerants that no longer have a viable domestic market in their places of origin. Madi Sekonde of the African Actors in Refrigeration and Air Conditioning tells me weak and lack of proactive anti-environmental dumping policies in many African countries have facilitated environmentally harmful dumping of inefficient air conditioners into African markets.
You know, in Africa, we don't have a lot of energy. We have a big issue, that is the lack of energy. And the very few energy we use inefficient air conditioning. That means for the environment, you are causing a very big damage. Then it's good to keep, for example, your refrigerator not in the kitchen, but in the living room, for example, or the place where you have not a heat. Because when you put your refrigerator in your kitchen and you cook there, so of course the place is more warm, and then the refrigeration will consume more energy. This is the reason why we put our hands together to try to work and to help our decision maker to know that we have to put the refrigeration sector in the middle of our action to address a lot of issues in Africa. Because without refrigeration, we cannot talk about development. Because with development, go through this food self-sufficiency. And to get this, we need also to preserve our food stuff. We cannot waste 70% of our food stuff and go to ask for something to eat and want to be independent. And also, with new refrigerant we are introducing to a place of the current one, who supposed to be eco-friendly refrigerant. They have a big issue of safety because they are flammable. And also in our context in Africa, our technicians are not trained. So they don't know how to handle flammable refrigerant. And we have also to address this issue. This is the reason why what's happening in Ogun State is linked to this aspect, because we don't know that the new refrigerant used in some air conditioning, R219, is a propane. Propane is like butane, what you use to cook. Is a flammable refrigerant, even explosive one. So we have to be aware about this at the technician level and also in the family. Because technically, what we import is not made for us, okay? What we import in Africa in efficient level is not made for us, because the cooling devices is made for Western countries. But as you know, in Africa, when somebody go in Western country, you go to a cold place, because there is more cold here than heat. So we can create, not in the food term, even Nigeria, I know we have some industry, we start to manufacture or to assemble some air conditioners. But we can work to have this product in Africa, or to have the rules that if you want to bring your product in Africa, you have to respect these standards. Now there is no standards in Africa. You can bring whatever you want in Africa. This is a big issue. So the new air conditioning we are building, they are using a propane and R32. This is not a natural refrigerant, it's a mixed one, but it's all so flammable. And this is the issue. If you have a flammable refrigerant in your system, in case of leakage, you transform your room, your house, and whatever wherever you put your refrigerator system, your refrigeration system as the air conditioning, you transform it in bomb. You just need to start the explosion.
Plymouth-based charity, the Ocean Conservation Trust, released some striking images showing a rare sighting of a marine life in the seagrass off the southwest coast of the UK. The long-snouted seahorse was captured on the ocean floor among the seagrass beds that are being restored in the Plymouth Sound National Marine Park. Marine biologist Mark Perry, who is also a development officer at the Trust, was the man who got to witness the unique sight. The Ocean Conservation Trust believe the sighting of an iconic and threatened British seahorse shines a light on the importance of prioritizing marine habitat protection. A green building is one which, in its design, construction or operation, reduces or eliminates negative environmental impacts, and which can have a positive effect on the climate and the environment. By the end of April, China had almost 6,600 building projects with certifications for sustainability and resource efficiency issued by the United States Green Building Council. But the transformation of the sector to a more efficient and sustainable model requires an astounding amount of capital, and the so-called green bonds are emerging as a potential and promising financial source. And British Deputy High Commissioner John Lewin says planting trees is one sure way of addressing the issues of climate change to promote a sustainable future for the next generation.
As we approach the Conference of Parties 26, COP26, which is being held in the UK, it's really important that we do everything we can to address climate change, and planting trees and nature-based solutions is critical to that. So it's really important today that we plant trees, that we find ways to regrow forests, that we find ways to stop deforestation, and indeed we find new ways to make climate-smart agriculture that can help feed us but also prevent carbon dioxide massing in the air. So just massively important, really keen that we support it.
And that's about it on today's edition of Green Angle. Until I come your way next time, remember, together we can build a sustainable world. I am Esther Mokwariola. Bye for now.